So I just saw the new Justin Kurzel film, True History of the Kelly Gang, and to be the contrarian, I really loved it. Justin Kurzel has become one of my favorite filmmakers. Personally, I think The Snowtown Murders is a masterpiece. His rendition of Macbeth is pretty outstanding, and I was a little worried with how big of a flop Assassin's Creed was that it would kind of hinder his career, but he's back with True History of the Kelly Gang, and the reason why I say I'm the contrarian is because critically this film is done pretty well, but with users, like if you go on IMDb and read some of the user reviews, they're pretty negative. Now going into this, I knew nothing really about Ned Kelly other than the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger character that's kind of based on him or inspired by him. So the film is basically about Ned Kelly and his rise to the Kelly Gang. And you might be thinking it'd be a biopic, but for me, I found this to be more of a character study and almost fictional. This film is based on a fictional book of Ned Kelly's fictional biography, I guess. It's really muddy where any kind of truth really comes from. But if you take this at face value without taking into account of knowing anything about Ned Kelly like I did, I found this to be a really good character study with great performances, some striking visual imagery, some decent musical choices here and there, and a really strong first and third act. And I say that because the film is broken up into 3 acts, and like I said, the first and the third are phenomenal. The second one really stutters the film and really drags. When you have these 2 great bookends, that middle piece, the way it's set up and the way the story progresses, it really feels slow and kind of a trog through the mud to get to the third act. But the first and the third act are phenomenal, are really good. I wish it had a stronger second act, I really do. But the second act isn't weak enough to make you not want to continue watching through it. It just, when you finish the film, you realize how slow that middle piece was. Like I said, I knew really nothing about Ned Kelly going into this or the Kelly Gang, so maybe if I knew a little bit of better backstory, I'd have been more disappointed in this film, but I don't, so I really love this film. So I'll say I recommend this, but I would go in with an open mind, especially if you're someone who knows of Ned Kelly or the Kelly Gang. Just try to go into it with an open mind because I think Justin Kurzel plays with some massive liberties here with the story to create his own like fictional tale. And while I think that works, I could also see that being a big turnoff for people who want something more historically accurate, but would recommend with an open mind. So I just saw First Cow, and it's pretty good. It's about a cook named Cookie who travels out west who meets up with a Chinese immigrant, and the two end up starting a successful business of stealing milk and making baked goods. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the story is very simple. It's not anything very big or elaborate, but it is a story that kind of feels like it's dragged out over 2 hours, because this film has some really slow pacing. Now, I don't mind slow pacing, but this film kind of has the slow pacing that feels like it could have been trimmed off. There's scenes that just linger that really doesn't add anything to the overall film, and there was some points where I just kind of felt checked out, where I felt like the film didn't really have anything to say and was kind of boring at points. But the positive things I will say about this film is the cinematography is absolutely beautiful. This is a very well shot film with 2 really strong performances by John Magaro, probably pronouncing his last name wrong, and Orion Lee, also probably pronouncing names wrong. Basically, both the 2 leads give really good performances here, and the baked goods he makes, those oily cakes, oh man, they look good. Like, I was like looking up like, is there a recipe for this? And there is. So I might have to try to make some oily cakes at some point, because man, they look good. If you're gonna have a movie about a food commodity and people are going nuts over it, I mean, come on, you gotta make it look appetizing, and they completely do in this film. And I like the overall story. It's kind of, in a way, a lighthearted, fun story without really being like lighthearted or cheesy, I guess. But there is just moments that just feel like that could have been trimmed out, you know what I mean? Maybe that's just my personal nitpick, but overall I definitely think it's a decent film. It's worth a watch if you're interested in it. And like I said, it's kind of a lighthearted film, so it's pretty easy to digest.